everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. This week I am going to be continuing on and finishing the Maryellen Strawberry Summer Dress 1950s playsuit outfit. Yeah, I need to come up with a better name for that. But basically it is this outfit right here. And as you can see, I have a good chunk of it finished right here already. So if you have not seen that first video, that is where I go through the patterning and the making of this actual dress. This week, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding all of the trim. I'm going to be adding pockets and figuring out how to kind of fake this super deep pocket look with pockets that are actually functional. And I am also planning to add sleeves to this just because I don't like to wear sleeveless, and this was a sleeveless dress originally. So I'm going to start right in with the binding on this. And I bought double fold bias tape from Joann's, and so it already has that fold in the middle. Hers is top stitched on the outside, so I'm just going to fold it over the edge of all of these edges in here and stitch it on that way, hopefully catching both sides at once. So wish me luck. So I decided to put the dress on to check if these had stretched out any in the 5 days that I've been working on this or not been working on this. And they in fact do need to be shortened. They were coming almost all the way to the center. So I folded some back right here, and I've also kind of marked where, I put the buttons lining them up with the darts and then marked where the tabs should stop basically. So I'm going to cut some of those back and then I'm going to do the binding, but I decided to also put it on and check for pockets. Now this is one that I measured and carefully placed and everything, just where the bias tape is, whereas this was kind of me eyeballing where I thought maybe the pockets should go. I still haven't decided if the pockets want to go all the way down the skirt, which I think is kind of excessive, or if I should have them stop basically either exactly where I can reach to or make it go longer and make it like a fake visual. But the other thing I realized, if they go actually to scale of from where Maryellen's start to where they end, which is the side seam, these pockets would hang out and gape away from my body. So I needed to make them a little bit smaller. I think this one is measured well, but I think that having it all the way down to the hem of the skirt looks silly. So I don't think I'm going to do it that way, but I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the bias tape on everywhere before I fully determine where I want these pockets both to start and also to stop. So the binding is now on the tab slash neckline slash opening area because it is continuous all the way around there. Sorry for the squeaking. Lion is squeaking right now. I'm trying to figure out still which pocket height for top I like better. And I don't know the answer to that. I might actually go ahead and post a picture on Instagram and have you guys decide while I'm out walking Lion and cooking dinner and stuff. Because yeah, again, this one is more to scale of how far Maryellen starts from her waist, whereas this one was just kind of what I was thinking. And I feel like the bad thing about this one maybe is that it is the widest part of my hips. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. For one thing, it would be good because that is, I feel where I normally reach for pockets. However, it is it shows that it's a little wider, but then does that actually mean that it's you get the hourglass look because it's wide, narrow, wide? Again, not sure. So I think I'm going to post a picture, put it on Instagram, and see what you all tell me to do. So I'm feeling torn about my buttonholes right now. This top buttonhole right here, this one is done with the largest setting on the one-step buttonhole foot. It wasn't large enough. I could not get the test button through this buttonhole. So then I made another buttonhole. This is with the 4-step buttonholer. I've gone over all of this in a whole separate video, so I'll link that down below. I am, if you notice, doing these on the bias because my buttonholes, because I've cut this on the bias, are actually on the bias. So what's happening here is I did get the button through this, but I don't know if that is why it is doing this weird gaping thing, or if the difference is, because I did try to get the button through this one, but I don't know if the difference is that this one-step buttonholer, it has a stabilizing stitch first. So it does a straight stitch, then zigzags over it. This omits that straight stitch and it's just zigzag. And I don't know if that is why it's it doesn't want to go back. I mean, I haven't pressed it, but obviously I'm not going to press this outfit, this buttonhole, every time I wear it. So with it like really weirdly stretching out like that, it's definitely a concern. Now, I did not use stabilizer in either of these buttonholes. They are just 2 layers. I was planning to use some tearaway stabilizer in my actual buttonhole. That said, I don't really think it's going to make a difference. I'm just concerned that, is it doing this because of the sheer size and the fact that it's on the bias, or is it doing this because we're missing that stabilizing stitch right there? Either way, it's not a great look. So I just did another test. I was actually able to force the button through that initial 1-step buttonhole, except now it's basically doing the same thing. So I think what's happened is that this buttonhole maybe wasn't quite large enough for the button to actually fit through. And I think maybe I actually wound up stretching the fabric out, and then when it releases back, now it's doing this. I've already stretched out and I'm stitched in place. I can't kind of go back to my original shape. So now both of these look like weird gaping mouths. So I'm torn because I stitched these on like really quite heartily, but now I'm almost wondering maybe I should actually be using like hooks and eyes and making this a faux button. I don't know if that would make more sense. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to test my little tester buttonholes here and actually like put them around the buttons that I've already sewn on and see if we can see this gaping mess when it is actually with a button. So yes, as you can see, the buttonhole does very much stick out past the button because obviously the button winds up sitting in this edge part of the buttonhole because it's pulled this way with tension. So although I sewed these on so nicely, I think what I'm actually going to do is sew the buttons, unpick the buttons, sew the buttons on to here and put some hooks and bars underneath so that it's actually going to do a hook and bar closure instead of the buttons themselves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm taking this old sleeve pattern mock-up that I had. Actually, it was a sleeve pattern final from my Victorian ball gown. I'm taking that and it should just about almost fit into the arm side. It's about 1 inch bigger, which is usually the ease that you want for a fitted sleeve. So I'm going to attempt to use this as my sleeve mock-up and see if this little just like short fitted sleeve will work. If so, what it's going to happen is it's going to be made out of the strawberry fabric with the green for like the trim, probably a little wider than the standard like double fold. So I might just do it flat along the bottom. Oh, and by the way, you guys are being really no help on Instagram about should I have the bottom of the pocket look there, like where it actually will end, or should I have the tape continue on down to the bottom? You guys are practically split 50-50. So I think that this is a pretty close fit. The one caveat is that I do feel like there's just a little bit of pulling right here. So I kind of want to see if I let the seam allowance out just a little bit right there so that the sleeve itself has a little bit more height in this area. I want to see if that will help. Also, as you might notice here, I have folded up the hem, so I am going to actually shorten this, I think to this length. I think that will be both comfortable and still like comfortable from a I want sleeves type standpoint. But yeah, I think that that's gonna be good right there. And then I will put the green band around the bottom. Of course, I did put this sleeve mock-up on while still forgetting to fix my darts first. So my darts are still wonky. That said, it's not this part of my darts that are wonky, it's this part that's wonky. So I think that I will be able to put sleeves in even without fixing the darts. That said, I need to fix the darts. So I'm going to try this little bit here first, taking just that little bit out. And then I think I'm gonna attempt to do something. I don't know why these darts are eluding me. Like, it makes me feel stupid because like it's darts. I should be able to get this, right? Like, I've done darts a million times. Why are these ones giving me so much difficulty? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna figure out what's going on with these darts and fix this little bit of a pull here. And otherwise I should have a good sleeve pattern right here. While I put this on to do the sleeve and look at the darts and everything though, I did actually decide on my pockets. So this is my final pocket design here. I moved this part down from where my like square pocket was. I moved this part down and this part up because hers do tilt a little like this. And then I've decided that I do want the bias strips to extend all the way to the hem. And then the pocket itself, the bag will end here. And I think because it's such a busy strawberry pattern, I don't think we're gonna really see that division line. I don't have the bag on yet, but that's basically the bag is gonna go to where it can reach and no further. And hopefully this isn't so wide that it's gonna gap. If it is, I'm just gonna put like a couple little snaps on there so that it can stay shut. But yeah, so that's the final pocket design. I have to redo these strips to match this one, and obviously I have to cut the pocket bags and everything, but I think that that looks quite nice and is a little bit more in hearkening to Maryellen's. So I'm gonna go do the sleeve and the darts now. Okay, so I'm trying to sort the whole dart thing out, and here's the problem. Generally speaking, what you do to kind of like fix darts like this is you put on something inside out. Well, I have it on inside out right now, obviously, and my issue is that, so I unpicked the darts other than like the inch that's closest to the arm side, because that seemed pretty okay. And the problem I'm facing is that when I pinch this dart out, it is the exact thing that I had sewed. And yet, when it was flipped around, neither dart fit. So it just means that, you know, boobs are different sizes, and that what works for one side isn't going to work for the other. However, this method where you put it on inside out, it flips which dart goes with which boob. And so that is the problem. And also now that I'm moving around, actually, maybe that's not true anyway. I don't know. I mean, part of it is that this dress has a little bit of room around because it is a wrap dress, so like it flexes. But I feel like what that means is it keeps changing where the darts are sitting on me and making it really difficult to fit. So I'm gonna have to do more figuring out with this whole thing, but it's really frustrating because I just wanna do the sleeves. And obviously it's easier to do the sleeves after you do the darts because then you know for sure that the darts are in the right place on the arm side. Now, all of that said, I did take this little bit right here out 1/8 of an inch. I have not put it on the right arm yet, but it is fitting much better over here on the left arm. So I think that was what I needed. I just needed that little bit extra of seam allowance in that one little place. So yeah, that will be great, and I can use this for my actual sleeve. I just have to figure out the darts first. Okay, so yeah, here's the thing. I think it is the nature of this wrap dress that this side, because it's like, I don't know, being held in differently because of how the straps go, this side, the dart that was there was pretty close. I've pinned it from the exterior right now and kind of pressed it in place on myself, and it's a pretty decent fit. I have done that now like 4 or 5 times with this one, and literally unless I pull this back this way, as in like keeping and coaxing the part that is eventually here to, you know, pull back around, I cannot get any dart to fit. It wants to be princess seam no matter what. Obviously I can't have a princess seam on one side and no princess seam on the other, and I don't want a princess seam in the first place. So I have literally no clue what to do, but the darts are not gonna fit right. As you can see, these sleeves are now on, and I think they look very cute, just having the little band around, nice little fitted sleeve. So yeah, that is what it looks like at the moment. I have also started in on pockets over here. So what I've done so far is just put the band around the top of the pocket, but I have 2 pockets. They're kind of an interesting shape, actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but they are not actually even. So this is the part that's centered, and then because it tilts up, it kind of winds up like this. So this is the outer side. So it will wind up fitting in down here. Obviously I don't need the green atop, but I do want to go around with a pen and mark where I had laid all of that out, and then mark those same bits on the other side over here. That way I can just lay the pockets on top of where those go. This is the wrong pocket, but I'll lay them where they go, stitch along the sides. Oh, I will press the bottom part in first, since obviously this is just going to be stitched like strawberry to strawberry with no binding, just like that. By the way, I did cut these on the same grain as what the skirt is right here. So I laid the selvage edge of the pocket fabric equal to where the selvage of the skirt is, which is the center front. And so the pockets actually are on a bit of a bias because the skirt is on a bit of a bias. I figured that would probably be the best, both to get them to lay nicely and also so that the strawberries hopefully blend in. But yeah, so I just have to trace everything out tomorrow, put those pockets on, and then I also have to do the hem tape, but I'm definitely gonna have to buy more hem tape because I think you can see how much of this piece right here is left. Basically, it's gonna be enough to have a little bit left over from one pocket, and I have one more of those left, but I need to get around the whole hem, and that's all the bias tape. This is taking a lot of bias tape. All right, the pockety sections are on. The pocket itself goes to here. So I think it's pretty well matched. Like, I didn't try and match strawberries, but I think that it blends in pretty well where the bottom of that pocket is. And then I have the bias tape that goes all the way down. And I don't really feel like they're gaping too much away from the body. I think that'll have to be something I just keep my eye on as I wear it. Like, if it starts to do that, then maybe I can put a snap or something like that in the middle. But this is it right now. So it's very, very cute. And I think it's like a grown-up version of her little play dress. And so now what I need to do, the only thing left on the dress is to do the hem. Now I've been trying to look and see, like, has any area of the hem dropped out? And it's honestly so hard to tell. I don't know if it's because it's like so full that's why it's hard to tell, but I don't really feel like anything has obviously dropped out. So I think I'm just gonna hem it as is, put the bias tape around all of the edges, and then call it good. That said though, that won't be the end of this project because while I was out getting more bias tape today, I also got another yard and a bit of the strawberry fabric so that I now have enough fabric to make bloomers. So that's why these are sitting there. These are short bloomers that I made like ages and ages and ages and ages ago. I don't even know how long, but they follow basically that same pattern that I used for the pantalettes that I'm pretty sure I showed you in a video not too terribly long ago. I'll link that video down below. And so I'm just going to use that same pantalette pattern and just cut off the bottoms and make some little elastic bloomers that match. Mine will have elastic in the waist up here, the wider elastic, which I hopefully have because I realized after I'd gotten my fabric cut at Joann's that I wasn't sure if I had it. And then it has narrow elastic in channels that are made out of bias tape down here at the bottom, and then the bottom is just left free to do that little ruffle. So yeah, these are what I'm gonna make to match, even though no one's going to see them at all. Like, they're way shorter than this dress. I just feel like since it's Friday now and I have a little bit of time, I can go ahead and do that. I'm planning to go take pictures and stuff of this on Sunday, and then the actual picnic is not until the following weekend, but by then this video might actually be out. I'm not really sure. I think this video will be coming out after the picnic by just a few days, so hopefully you already had all the information if you wanted to attend. I did put it in my last video, but yeah, this one I think will have already happened. So I do apologize for that. But we have had 3 of these picnics so far. So if this one goes well, then we'll probably have another. So who knows? So now that I've just cut my bloomer pieces out, I've just noticed that Maryellen's bloomers don't actually have ruffles at the bottom. They're just elasticated, which is a lot easier because that means you can just like fold it up instead of having to create a bias tape channel. That's the wrong bias tape, but create a bias tape channel and then, you know, do a separate hem and have that little ruffle going on. But I kind of like the look of the ruffle at the bottom. Like, that's what I basically always do when I put elastic at the bottom of bloomers. So I think I'm gonna make mine a little different. Mine are also obviously going to be a little longer because mine kind of go to mid-thigh. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the ruffle look, do that bias tape channel since I did buy the bias tape too, and have it do that way instead of a direct copy of hers. Of course, now that I've made that decision and I've gone and I've folded up the hem to be able to prep to put the bias tape channel down, I was thinking that the inseam looked a little short compared to what I have going on here. And basically on this, I measured on my previous pattern, the pantalettes pattern, like what was 23 inches down from the waist down to be the hem, because that's how long these are. These are 23 inches from the bottom of the elastic to the bottom of the ruffle. However, apparently these have a shorter rise in, you know, the crotch area than the pantalette pattern does, because what I have now is 23 inches this way to that unfolded. However, I'm about like an inch or so short this way. In other words, if I were to like fold this up and not have a ruffle, I think it would be the same depth here as it is here before we get to the elastic. So basically from the crotch to the elastic. So now I'm wondering, maybe I should do them like Maryellen's back there and not have that ruffle, because otherwise I'm going to wind up with a much shorter inseam and they probably won't be comfortable that way. So yeah, I think we're just going to fold that up a little bit wider, wide enough to put an elastic channel through, and have the bottom here be elasticated. My bloomers are all done. They're very cute and very silly, and the way to make these is exactly like I went over in that other video, except with the addition of the elastic down here. So this is just a narrow elastic. This is like a 1/2 inch wide elastic, if that might even be 3/8, whereas then this one is like a 3/4 or a 7/8 inch wide elastic, something like that. And this is just done by turning up the channel instead of turning down the channel and stitching that in place. I do also, when I make bloomers, I always add a little tag in the back so that I know which one is the back and which one is the front. It doesn't have to be a fancy tag. You could literally take a little piece of ribbon and fold it and sew it in place. I've done that before, but it's very helpful, because otherwise you always like look into your bloomers and you're like, okay, which one has the longer rise? That's the back. Okay, just put a tag on there. Highly recommend. It's way easier. So with that, this outfit is done. I do want to add one comment. I debated about making an actual headband. She's got an elasticated headband. It's got a little bit of elastic down at the bottom. I don't like putting those on. I don't think they ever really look that good on my head. So I'm actually just taking the leftover bias tape, which there was not much out of 6 packages of bias tape. This is all that is left. And I'm just going to take this and tie it around my head like a little headband and have the bow underneath my neck, because that usually works out better for me. But yeah, the whole outfit is done. I don't have any green shoes, but I'm gonna go put it all on tomorrow and I don't know, go take some silly pictures with my Maryellen doll in our matching strawberry dresses. So I will see you then. I am very happy with how it turned out. It is now absolutely covered in cat fur because of me attempting to, you know, hold my cat while she struggled away from me. But I guess I can lint roll later. The other thing that I noticed is I don't know if this is just because they are technically on the bias or because I tried to put my cat in my pocket, but I do feel like the pockets have stretched out just a little bit and are kind of hanging away from the body. So I might go ahead and like put a snap in there. We'll see if it bothers me or not. If it doesn't bother me, then I'll just leave it as is, and they'll kind of just hang away from the body a little bit. They're such huge pockets that I knew that that was kind of a risk. Also, I'm not used to wrap dresses, so this is probably just like a wrap dress thing, but it's very weird that I can like really physically feel the back wrap. Like I can feel where that kind of crossover is. I'm just not used to it, so it's a very different feeling sort of garment than what I am used to. Speaking of the back wrap, as I mentioned probably earlier in this video and certainly in the last video, I kind of used a simplicity pattern as some of my basis because it was kind of similar to this sort of wrap style, but minus like these tabs coming around. Well, yesterday, while I was trying to find out what the original simplicity pattern number was, like from the 1950s, I actually found out that there is a McCall's pattern that is basically identical to this dress, and I probably could have just used that in the first place and saved myself some trouble. I do think the skirt does not seem as wide. The repro pattern number is McCall's 7354, and it looks like this right here, so you can see that it is really quite similar. So although at one point I was thinking, oh, maybe if I ever really do figure out the whole like producing my designs, patterns, etc., for you to be able to purchase them on Etsy like I have with my jumper dress that I did a couple of years ago, I was thinking, oh, this would be a good one for that. Well, maybe it wouldn't be a good one for that because McCall's actually already has one really, really similar. So go check that pattern out. I will actually link that down in the description. I have not seen the pattern in person, but based on what I'm seeing online, it looks very, very close, and it is a currently available pattern. And as of the time of filming this, it's even on sale. Can't make any promises for when this is released though. But yeah, that I think is going to be pretty much it for this. I honestly am really liking this dress though. I think that it is one that I'm going to get a lot of wear out, just like kind of in my daily use. I mean, I'm planning to wear this literally for the rest of the day today, and I will probably put this in my general rotation. I don't know if I will put the bloomers in the general rotation because I do feel like compared to the bike shorts that I'm used to, I feel like they want to ride up a little bit on the bottom of the leg. Like not a ton, but enough where I feel like bike shorts are probably still more comfortable. But I'm very pleased with how it turned out and how close it is to Maryellen's actual strawberry dress, of course with the addition of sleeves. And yeah, this is another American Girl cosplay success. So hopefully you liked this video. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube at least once a week with sewing vlogs like this out on Tuesdays and sometimes additional content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks or join my YouTube channel memberships right here on YouTube below the video. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Mirage, Jean, and Janelle. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!